Hi there, everyone. Sorry that I can't do my usual class today. It's because a colleague is having a retirement leaving do. So that seemed like a really special occasion and I didn't want to miss it. But hopefully this little video will give you the chance to do some yoga, even if we can't do it in real time in person. It also might be a good opportunity for those of you who don't always manage to make the class to either see what it's like or just to have an opportunity to catch up. Okay, so our focus today is going to be on the hips, and they're definitely a part of the body that can suffer if you spend too much time sitting down. So we're going to be doing lots of things for both mobility and stability in the hips. But first of all, we'll start as always, sitting up nice and tall. So come to the edge of your seat so that you're using your abdominal muscles to help support you rather than leaning back on the seat. Have your feet planted on the floor, your knees about hip distance apart, and then sit up nice and tall, imagining that you had a string coming out the top of your head and you're just being pulled up from the crown. And then let the shoulders relax down, shoulder blades sliding down the back, and your hands can just rest wherever is comfortable. So just either close your eyes or look away from the screen and start to bring your attention inwards, letting yourself just settle in to this moment, giving yourself permission to be here, and trusting that this is a valuable use of your time and that all the other things you've got to do will still be waiting later. And just do a quick scan of the body, see how you're feeling today. Maybe a quick check-in with the hips and just see how they are feeling. And if they are talking to you a bit, not judging that in any way, just noticing it. And then once you've had a quick scan of the body, then just coming to bring your attention slightly on the breath. And I'm going to invite you today to have a go at something which is called Ujjayi breath or ocean breath. And to do that, you sort of constrict your throat a little bit and make a little bit of a sound on both the inhale and the exhale. It's almost a bit like, I don't want to put negative images in your head, but it's almost like a kind of Darth Vader sort of sound. So on the inhale and the exhale, a bit like this. I don't know if my microphone's picking that up, but it's just so you get the idea, basically making a little bit of a kind of audible hiss kind of sound on both the inhale and the exhale. And that's just a nice way of, if you're doing any sort of movement that feels a little bit challenging, that can be a nice way to bring the attention to the breath, and it helps to distract you a little bit from what you're doing. So take one more nice deep breath there. And then gently open your eyes. And we're going to start today by just taking a nice big stretch up. So just bring your arms up overhead, almost as if kind of stretch first thing in the morning. We're not doing anything particular with the hands. You can kind of shake out your wrists, twinkle your fingers a little bit, and try and get some good lift all the way around, all four sides of your torso. Think about your hips pressing down and your fingers really reaching up. Okay, and then we'll take some circles for the shoulders as well. So just looping the shoulders, I'm going forward and then back. It doesn't matter which way around you're doing it. I'm going to go in both directions. Really bringing the shoulders up to the ears and then down the back, and then reverse and go the other way. So for me, that then means coming forwards first. Maybe walking the shoulders one at a time. That kind of brings the hips in a little bit as well. Just getting a little bit of movement going there. And then we'll just do some gentle warm-ups for the neck as well. So we'll just turn the head to one side and then to the other. Just gently, not overdoing it, just warming up through the neck. And then we'll do just tilting the ear over towards the shoulder. And up, and then over to the other side. Back up, we'll take one more of those on each side. Back to center. And over, and then back to center. Okay, so we've warmed up the neck and the shoulders a bit. We're now going to start to think about warming up the hips. And I'm going to invite you to do something which is called a Sufi grind. But we start off in cat-cow and then we take it into it kind of going round in a circle. So it's great for warming up the spine and the hips at the same time. So just to remind you, cat-cow is this one where we kind of arch the spine and lift the chest and then round through, bringing the crown of the head down and letting the back arch round here. And then alternating between those two. And then for a Sufi grind, we do that movement, but we also bring in a kind of rotation as well. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm coming across to the side, bringing my chest forward here, across to the other side. And then as I come back, I rock to the back of my sitting bones and round through. And then we'll just keep that going. So really trying to stretch out through the spine and warming up through those hips and lower back as well. So you'll probably notice as you do this that your weight shifts from one hip to the other and then to the back of your pelvis and to the front of your pelvis. And that's what we want, that sensation of really working all the way into the hips. Okay, we're going to reverse it and go around in the other direction. So whichever way you've been going, it's still the same movement, coming forwards and then back. But we're just going in the opposite direction. Just thinking about warming up those hips here. Okay. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to now come up to standing. And first of all, again, just as part of a warm-up, we'll just do some of these loose kind of hip rotations here. So we're just turning the body from side to side. Make sure that you let the heel come up on the back foot as you come round, and bend your knees as well so that you're not jarring in the knees as you do this. And then just let the arms flop. Think wet spaghetti. And you can experiment with having the hands down low, giving yourself a bit of a tap on the hips, or coming up higher, maybe tapping your shoulders as you come round, or just letting your arms flop around your waist. But just getting a little bit of movement here into the hips, into the spine, and counteracting. When we're sitting at a desk all day, there's a lot of kind of forward, motion just in this direction. So by turning, we're just taking the body through a different range of motion here. Okay, great. Then we're going to do some warm-ups as well for the hips standing. And this is also great for the balance. So one of the things that often happens with problems with hips is people's weight, they get used to their weight sort of going more into one side than the other, whether that's because there's pain in one side so they avoid it or whatever. So we're going to do a couple of things on one leg, because that's a great way to help to strengthen the hips and help to kind of balance them out. The first thing we're going to do though is really just a warm up. So do come near your chair and then take your weight over onto your left leg, although it doesn't really matter which one as long as you do both. Then we're just going to pick up that knee, and it's the knee coming up first, so as if we had it on a string and the foot's just kind of dangling down underneath. So first of all, just standing with the leg up there. If you feel confident, you can take your hand off the chair and you'll start to feel already that leg's working really quite hard, and the standing leg's working quite hard too. And then we're just going to start to do some circles here with that hip, bringing the knee up and round, up and round. You can let the toe touch down if you need to for balance, or you can hold the chair, or if you're feeling really confident, you can do this standing, maybe with your arms out to the side for balance. Now, whichever way you've taken your hips, we'll just flip around the other way. And then pop that foot down. And then onto the other side. Now you can come around to the other side of your chair if you want to, or you can just stay where you are, depends on how you're feeling with your balance. And so standing up nice and steady. First of all, we're just going to bring up that leg again, as if you were bringing the knee up on a string. And just holding it there, first of all, letting the foot dangle. And just we're building some strength in the hips and the quads there. And then we'll start to go into those circles. So taking the hip out and round. Using the chair for balance if you need to, or if you're feeling confident, taking your hands out to the side. And then whichever way you've been going, we're gonna take those circles in the opposite direction. Okay. So what we're going to do now, that we've done that little warm up for the hips, is a tree pose. And tree pose is great for, again, balance. Standing on one leg really helps with kind of building that strength in the hips and all of the legs. And also tree pose involves opening the hip out. So tree pose is the one where we balance one leg and you either have the foot here down in the ground or here on the calf. As we're just doing this as a kind of lunchtime thing, I'm not going to suggest anything more involved than that. Okay, so standing nice and well, get your balance. So make sure that you feel nicely planted on your feet, weight evenly balanced across both sides, standing up nice and tall, engaging through the legs, through the abdomen, shoulders relaxed back and down, and head just level on top of your neck. And then we'll take the weight over onto the left leg first of all, lifting that right leg and then deciding where you're going to place it. So we're opening out through the hip there, and then either placing the foot on the calf or just down on the floor if your balance feels a little bit, just your toes on the floor if your balance isn't quite there. The one place not to do is don't put it on your knee, because then you'll be pushing, your weight will be pushing the knee joint out of place, and it's not great for your knees. Okay, so once you've decided where you're going to place your foot, think about your roots in your toes reaching down into the ground to help stabilize you there. If you find a focal point across the room, look at something that's not moving, so probably not looking at the screen might help with your balance. You've got the chair there if you need to. If you're feeling confident, you can reach your hands up, so reach up your branches of your tree up into the light. Keeping your abdominal muscles engaged, help stabilize you, and just really reaching out, stretching your fingers up, stretching your roots down. And then we'll just gently bring the hands back down, close your canopy, close your branches, Bring your foot back down to the ground. And then have a little bit of a shake out and ease out, maybe some hip circles if you're really feeling that there. And then we're going to go on to the other side. So standing well again, standing up nice and tall. Your roots and your toes growing all the way down into the ground to keep you nice and stable. Taking the weight over to your right leg and then lifting up that knee, opening out through the hip, and then placing the foot wherever you've decided to go. So either on the calf or just with the toe touching down on the ground. And then once you find your position, then just finding your balance, finding a focal point to help you. Engaging through your abdominal muscles slightly just to help support you here and so you're not arching the back. And then hands for balance if you want to, but if you're feeling okay in your balance, you can bring your hands up and overhead, really thinking about reaching your branches up there into the light and reaching in all directions, roots going down into the ground. And we're getting a great stretch opening through that hip there. Remembering to breathe. This is where you can bring in that Ujjayi breath if you want to, which helps you to kind of distract you from all the things, but there's a lot going on in this pose. So probably better just to focus on your balance. And then gently bringing the hands together, down to your heart, closing your canopy, bringing your foot back down to the ground. Have a little shake out, and then we're going to come into a downward dog on the chair. So just bringing your hands to the back of the chair, walking your feet back and getting a really good stretch there through your back. And think about your hips here as being the thing that's furthest back. So your tailbone is reaching away from the chair. And there's also a sensation of kind of stretching through the armpits, through the sides of the body. The head's just between the upper arms. And then we'll walk it up. And we're going to come back down to sitting. So once we're all back down, coming to the edge of your seat again, sitting up nice and tall and feet planted on the ground. And we're going to do what is probably my favorite stretch for the hips, which is a seated version of pigeon pose. So we're going to bring, first of all, the right foot up and onto the left knee. And then this might already be quite an intense stretch for you. Don't worry about what this knee's doing. If it's up here, that's absolutely fine. We're here to work on it, not to get it perfect first time round. Try and keep your weight balanced across both of your hips here, but you'll probably definitely be feeling it more in the right hand side if that's the knee that you've got up. And then think about sitting up nice and tall, engaging through your abdominal muscles, engaging through your back muscles, letting your shoulders roll back and down and stretching up through the crown of your head. And then from there, keeping that length, if you want to, you can start to think about leaning forward a little bit, but leading with the breastbone, leading with the chest, almost as if you were going to look over the top of your knees to see your reflection in a pond or something like that. So we're keeping length through the spine. And then only coming as far forward as feels like a good stretch for you. And that's one of the great things about this stretch. It's really, you can really customize it to suit your body. And remember, this again is another one where that Ujjayi breath is a great thing to do. So bringing that slight constriction in the throat to help you bring your attention to your breath. And then On your next inhale, we'll just lift up again, trying to keep that length through the crown of the head. And then we'll take that foot down and swap over to the other side. So bringing the ankle up onto the opposite knee. And this knee, the left knee, is just wherever it is absolutely fine. Lifting up through the crown of the head, engaging all through the abdominal muscles, the back muscles to help support you. And then if this is enough for you, stay there. But if you want to, just think about starting to lean forward a little bit, but keeping that length in the spine, leading with the chest, and imagining that you're looking over into a pond or something in front of you to see your reflection. Just to help you keep that length in the spine. Think about your shoulders still coming back and down. And just taking it as far as feels good to you. Take one more deep breath here. And then on an inhale, just coming back up again. Bringing that foot down. And then we are going to just take a little bit of a forward bend here. Again, this is a sort of slightly different movement for the hips. We'll bring the knees out as wide as you comfortably can without kind of collapsing down. So we're still trying to keep nice length here. And then again, thinking of that, what we were doing before, about leading with the chest, bringing the chest forward into a forward fold. Now you can stop here with the elbows on the knees, or you can bring your hands down and come all the way forward. It just depends on your body, and maybe you're different one day to another. And then once you get to where you're going to stay, then just let your head hang. Just really let your head hang down. Lengthening the back of the neck here, tucking the chin into the chest, and just letting your head be really heavy, hanging down, stretching out through the neck. And this is a lovely feeling if you've been again sitting looking at the computer, just getting that stretch there, bringing the attention inwards. And then on your next inhale, we'll just gently come back up. And we'll just finish off there, and we'll just come to a little quiet moment before we close. So coming back to center, sitting up nice and tall, hands wherever you want to rest them, closing the eyes, and just again bringing your attention inwards, and doing that same quick scan of the body, checking in, maybe seeing if your hips feel any different to how they did when we started. Any other parts of your body feel different when we started. And then coming to the breath, and coming to that ocean breath again, if you liked it. Just making a slight audible sound as you inhale and you exhale. And we'll just take a few quiet rounds of breath there. And then bringing your attention back to where you are. Gently opening your eyes. And we're going to leave it there for today. So I hope that has been beneficial for your hips or just beneficial for your soul. So thank you very much for sharing your time and energy with me, and I hope to see you again soon.